How much better or worse does an ad set perform if it completes the learning phase on Facebook ads? If you're at this video, I'm going to assume that you already know what the learning phase is and you've seen it in your ads manager. You've seen the delivery column and you could either have the status learning limited, active, or learning, right? And that's indicating whether that ad set has completed the learning phase. Now, I have searched all over YouTube, all over blogs, all over the web, looking for some type of split test or some type of results that shows whether or not completing that learning phase actually has a meaningful impact on your results. I couldn't find anything, so I decided to test it myself with a few grand of my own money. We're going to jump into that test right now. So let's talk about it here. The experiment, finding out how much better or worse an ad set performs if it completes the learning phase. That's pretty simple, right? Now, what was the objective we used? Well, I was using the conversion event. So this was sending users on Facebook from my ad to a landing page with a conversion event behind, and that conversion event was for remodeling leads. So whenever somebody completed a form on the landing page, and that consists of their name, email, phone, street address, and zip code, and then a service selection saying, what would you like a quote for? And that was bathroom remodeling, kitchen remodeling, new windows, stuff like that. That would trigger a conversion event and send it back to Facebook. So I'm using the conversion event to generate leads from my landing page, right? Now, here's how we needed to set this up. We'd split test two ad sets. One ad set would have a significantly smaller budget, so it would not complete the learning phase. Subsequently, the other ad set would have a higher budget and it would complete the learning phase. The ad sets would be a clone of each other, with the only difference being the budget, right? So I would literally just duplicate the ad set as you're going to see here and run it as is. And they were already using post IDs or using an existing post in the ads manager. So the post IDs would be the same. So they'd have the same likes, same comments, same shares. Okay. And then I would let it run until one ad set completed the learning phase, and then for at least 1 week thereafter. Now, I let it run for probably almost 2 weeks thereafter, but the big thing is right here, run until one ad set completed learning. Because if you compare the time that they're in learning phase and you don't exclude that from your experiment, what you're going to suffer from is what quantitative analysis would call hindsight bias. So we'll talk about that in a second. And then finally, my budget, well, that was basically whatever it takes. I started one ad set off with $25 a day, the other at $75 a day. And then I increased that a little bit. Total over time, spent $2,223.58. Now, very important. I need to address this because I know a lot of you guys out there that run Facebook ads like to fuck with your Facebook ads every 30 minutes. Stop doing that. Stop fucking with your Facebook ads every 30 minutes. Stop trying new creatives. Stop trying new landing pages. Stop editing your audience. Stop changing your budgets, right? Leave all that shit alone. Focus on the core principles, your audience and the offer, and let Facebook gather enough data with that audience and that offer to actually, generate some meaningful results. So as you'll see through this whole thing, I really didn't change anything. Actually, I didn't change anything other than the budget once. I increased the budget from what was $100 a day to $120 a day at one point. That was it, right? So leave well enough alone. I can't stress that enough because too many people out there just fuck with, way too many things. I seen a post in a Facebook group recently with somebody that was asking what's wrong with my campaign? I've spent $40. I've tried 3 different audiences. I'm like, you spent $40 on 3 different audiences. Well, there's your problem, right? Like you haven't left it consistent enough to learn or do anything. So anyways, let's jump into my ads manager here and let's start from the beginning. So you'll see on my screen, October 13th through October 20th, I had this ad set running, but at this point it was still in the learning phase. Okay, so it had only gotten 34 results during this time period, but it was coming in at a pretty good price, and figured we'll use this as the control and this as the variant. So I duplicated it. I clicked the duplicate button. I don't know if it's going to let me duplicate. Yeah, I duplicated it and I said split test new campaign or split test campaign, etc. And basically set up this ad set that we have up here. And the budgets were initially 75 and 25, right? And then I turned it on and let it run. So let's look at this from the period that this ad set here was still in learning phase. So let's go from the 21st to the 29th. All right. At this point, this one was in the learning phase and so was this one, right? Now, while they were both in the learning phase, look at this. They performed basically identical. $10 a lead, or $10 a conversion, I should say. $10.03 a conversion. All right, that's basically the freaking same. So this is how they performed while they were in the learning phase together. Now on October 29th here, this ad set left the learning phase, and this is what we're concerned with. We're concerned with the time period going forward. When one is out of the learning phase, it is learned, and my delivery would say active right here. And if I were to turn these on, just do this real quick. If I turn them on real quick, I think you'll see it. Yeah, right here. This one says active. This one says learning limited. But from this period, the 21st to the 29th, this one was learning. That one was learning. So 29th, this one left the learning phase. So let's go forward from October 30th to today, the 12th. This is 9 a.m. on the 12th, right? At this point, this one's completed the learning phase. It's done learning. This one's still stuck in the learning phase. So here we go. Let's update it. We're going to see the results. 3, 2, 1. Here's the money shot. Boom. Right there. Now what we see here is the one that has completed the learning phase has pulled in 109 conversions at $9.63 each. The one that is stuck in the learning phase has pulled in 27 conversions, and that's respective because its budget was a lot lower, but the cost per result, $12.99 each, right? So because we're mathematical people here, let's put this in mathematical terms. I like to think I'm mathematical, even though more often than not, I'm probably just flying by the seat of my pants. $12.99 minus 963 equals 336 divided by 963. So we could say right here that the ad set that completed the learning phase, we would say that the ad set that was stuck in the learning phase was generating results that were 34.89, we'll call it 35% more than the one that had completed the learning phase. We could flip this around and we could say $12.99 minus 963. Again, divide that by 12.99. And we could say the kind of inverse of that, and that is that when the ad set completed the learning phase, it generated conversions at 26% less than the variant that was stuck in the learning phase. So there is a kind of, I'm going to say there's a material difference, a meaningful difference between the performance of these two ad sets. As you can see, when it completes the learning phase, it does perform better, right? So what can we take away from this? Well, I think the big thing to take away from this is let your ad sets complete the learning phase and then let it run after it's completed the learning phase to truly identify or truly establish what your cost per result is. You know, if you're testing things, don't consider it a test or don't consider it a successful test unless you've completed the learning phase, because there is, some power behind that learning phase to ultimately optimize your conversion event. So keep that in mind. Just because you set something up and it doesn't work in a day or two doesn't mean that that's right, that you've really established anything. You have to let things complete the learning phase to really establish something meaningful. That said, if you start an ad set and, going into it probably 4 or 5 days and you're not getting any conversion and you're spending all kinds of money, you need to look at, in terms of what your target cost per acquisition is. What are you targeting based on experiences or others in the same industry selling the same things? What are you targeting, and then how relative is it? If you're getting to maybe 20 times that target, and you haven't gotten one conversion, I'd probably end it there. But if you've got something that is getting conversions and it might not be quite what you want, but it's maybe within 2 or 3x of that, let it run and complete the learning phase. As you can see here, when you complete the learning phase, you do get better results. So that's a wrap, guys, on this video. It's now time for that tacky CTA. If you like the video and the insight I shared here, click the like button on the YouTube player, subscribe to the channel, and look for the No Bullshit Marketing Facebook group where I share more marketing insights and experiments like the ones you just seen here. I'm signing off on this one.